What is up, everybody? We've got another episode of the Night Ride Home podcast here. I almost said the Jason Isbell series because it's pretty much a given that if it's a solo episode, it's probably going to be the Jason Isbell series. But alas, this is a solo episode with me because Leo was busy this week, and that's actually going to work out okay. It's going to work out in our favor because we've got some audio reviews that we needed to talk about. So yeah, we're gonna do some audio reviews. Before we get into that, just some things to talk about off the top of the cuff here. We have all the reviews that we're gonna talk about today are on the WordPress page, which I've done something novel, something that um, really is genius, and I don't really think anybody has done before. I wrote something down before I hit record on this podcast. I always say, these reviews are up on the WordPress page, but I don't know it. But I do know it today. It is the Night Ride Home podcast.wordpress.com. You can go there and you can find, not only can you find all the written reviews that we're going to talk about today, but you can find all the written reviews we've ever done. They're all there. And, today the reviews that I'm going to try to get to, Pacific Drive, Dakka Squadron, which is Warhammer. I guess it's a Warhammer 40K Dakka Squadron, Gas Station Simulator, and the Tidal Wave DLC, and Clean the Sea. Those are the four reviews that I wanted to get through today. If we don't get through them all today, don't hold me accountable, don't hold me to that. We'll get to them eventually. That being said, also, if you haven't been listening on Spotify, you got to listen to them on Spotify, but if you haven't been, if you go over on Spotify to the podcast page, you can see the Jason Isbell review series. If you've never listened to Jason Isbell, this is a perfect place to jump in. We go through all of his albums. We're ranking, we're reviewing them. As of this recording, we are on episode 7 is going to be releasing on Thursday. That is the reunion episode, and actually tomorrow I'm going to record the Weather Vanes episode, and then we're done with ranking and reviewing the actual studio albums, and then we're going to get into the bonus tracks, which I've started compiling the songs for that series, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with those. Also, we've got, if you haven't caught up on the regular podcast feed, we've got a series that we started called Bad Games We Love. Episode 1 is available now. It actually just released yesterday. I need to do the socials for that. I just realized that I need to do socials for that. Also, Bad Games We Love Part 2 is coming. That's going to release the week after. And then we also have enough for an episode 3, I believe, and also a little reverse of that idea coming soon. All that being said, also, Leo and I talk about Enshrouded a lot. Enshrouded written review is available now, but it's an early access review, so it's something that we're going to continue to add towards as we go. But they had their first content drop today. You can go ahead and look. I think it's called Hallowed Halls. It adds some dungeons. You can sit on your furniture now. It overhauls the UI in a lot of ways. One that I noticed today when I played through it was that you can, when you're sorting through inventory, it's a little bit better. All that stuff you can look forward to. The Enshrouded audio review is coming. I'm just waiting on Leo to feel like he's finished with it. Let's see. Did we get all the stuff here? I think we did. So, we're going to start off with the Pacific Drive review. So, if you weren't familiar with Pacific Drive, our friends over at Kepler Interactive, they have helped us out with getting codes for Eternites. They've given us codes for Chia. Excuse me, I don't have a drink for this. And they were kind enough to get us. There goes my phone. They were kind enough to give us reviews for a review code for Pacific Drive, and this game is basically, it's kind of like a survival sim with a twist. Like you're doing all of your gameplay, well, most of your gameplay from a car. Your car is basically your main tool. The story follows, you're this unnamed character, and you get dropped off into a zone that's ravaged by a failed government experiment. And basically, it's turned this area into a supernatural hotbed, basically. And you get into this uh, I'm trying to do this without spoilers. Basically, you get knocked out of your car and you're running through the wilderness and you find another car, and this leads you into a storyline where you're basically having to help these voices that are guiding you along through the story. And uh, off the bat, you get the feeling that of the atmosphere in this game, and it's absolutely incredible. The atmosphere is a 10 out of 10. Uh, there were times where I would be driving through, and just like the shark fin would come out of the concrete, and you'd have to kind of avoid it, or you would see these people that were just frozen, kind of. Uh, Look, the best way I can describe it is in Gears 3. There's that mission where you get to the part where the people are the bomb goes off and like the people were like reduced to ash, but like they were still standing. It was a lot like that. But like all these creepy visuals combined with the music and the art style, just really fantastic stuff art style wise. Well, I guess I meant atmosphere. Atmosphere is what I meant there. But yeah, so basically you get to a garage, and I will say the garage mechanic is just absolutely fantastic. I loved messing around in the garage. You in the garage, you can craft new parts for your car and install them. You can fix up your car. You can you can attach new attachments into your car. You can fill up the gas. Top off your uh, top off your battery. Charge up your car's engine, all that stuff. And it was just like this feeling of catharsis as I was doing all these tasks. And then you go over into your. Oh, before we leave the garage, there's a sentient trash can. I feel like it's important to talk about. You go up to this trash can and you interact with it, and it just spits out a bunch of stuff that you can use to for salvage and to upgrade your car. Just and that just speaks to the personality of the game. Just a lot of really good stuff here. Uh, but yeah, so you're basically you're on this kind of scout. It's a lot of scavenging missions, basically what it boils down to. And you pick an area and you drive out to it, and like the first mission, you have to craft an impact hammer to break apart these fusion cells to I'm blanking on the name, but it's basically this antenna that you can get for your car. And after you get the prerequisite amount of materials, you basically have to call in this light from the sky, and you have to drive into the light in the sky to basically to leave the level. It's as insane as it sounds. Like, you know what I mean? Uh, excuse me. But at the same time, you've got a sentient trash can, so you got to have like a supernatural entities abound. I lost my train of thought. Okay, uh, supernatural entities abound. So you drive into the thing, you get back to your garage, wham bam, thank you, man. And that's pretty much the main gameplay hook here. You're going out on these scavenging missions. You're getting the what you need. You're coming back. Now, all of the gameplay in this is great. Uh, Going through, exploring these abandoned buildings, having rainstorms coming through, and just it just really cannot be stated as you're exploring this barren wasteland. Well, it's not barren really. It's just abandoned. You're the only human thing for you're the only human thing in these landscapes, and you're just going through these buildings that used to house life and other humans, and it just tells a story all on its own. It's just scavenging through abandoned gas stations, or going through groups of petrified people. Uh, all that stuff is great. I do think that where the game started to lose me was both optimization wise and that escape mechanic that we talked about earlier. Uh, as far as optimization goes, I had if you listen to the show, you know that I'm mainly a handheld gaming player. This game is very pretty, but I did not think that it was pretty enough to warrant the technical issues that I was having with this. The Steam Deck, I cannot even recommend that you try it for now. Definitely don't try it on the Steam Deck for now. The the ROG Ally was better. I was able to play it on there, but again, I had to really tinker with the in-game settings to get it to run, and it was a pretty big killer on the battery. But I'm not going to ding it for that because I mean the ROG Ally battery is pretty crap anyway. The the only other real complaint that I would let me look at my complaints here. The magical portal from the sky. I I had a few missions where it was impossible for me to finish them. And I don't know if it was just something I did wrong or if it's something that needs to be fixed in the game. But the example I used in the written review was that you basically need these cores to bring to your car to open these portals to get you home. So the core was at the top of this cliff. So I was like, well, obviously I can't drive my car up there. So I got out of the car, hoofed it up the cliff, got the core, ran back down, which, by the way, in that instance, the game was horrifying because there were things at the top of that cliff. I had to run back to my car and hope I didn't die. That was really great stuff. But then when I got back to my car, the portal opened back at the top of the cliff, and I drove around the cliff, all the live long day until basically once you open that portal, you have like a limited amount of time to drive through it, or you get encompassed by this storm, basically that kills you very, very slowly. Um, and yeah, I could not find a single way to get up to the top of that cliff. I think that the portal should be able to be moved around. I don't know if there was just something wrong with the build when I had it, but I was not able to move that portal around. Uh, but other than that, I mean, the game is just fantastic. And, those two, I think that it should be better optimized, and I think that overall, I think that the whole. Did I just repeated myself there? I'm so sorry. Let me try that again. The portal system needs to be changed where you can move the portal around, and just some little optimization things to make it run better on handheld PCs. That being said, I did run it on a normal game PC. It ran fine. I just think that it could run a little bit better on the like Steam Deck optimization and like other handheld PC optimization. I think is a must for this game to really find its footing. But yeah, all in all, Pacific Drive, it's a game that absolutely thrives on its environment. It's got great gameplay. The driving's super satisfying. The moment to moment is just fantastic. It's not a horror game. I don't think it's a horror game, but it is a game with really great horror elements to it. So yeah, if you've got a PC, or I also believe this game is on PS5, maybe on PS4, go check it out. It's a great game. I would think it retails for $29.99, but whatever it's retailing for, it is worth that price. Uh, okay, let's put this off to the side. That was Pacific Drive. Next up is Clean the Sea. This game really, really charmed me. It was a mobile game for a while. I think it's been out for 2 years on mobile, but they ported it over to Steam, and I don't know when this game is supposed to come out on Steam. But as of right now, there is no price, and there's no release date on Steam listed. I don't think you might double check that whenever you want. Uh, but it is worth noting that it is free on mobile, and we're going to talk about why that's important in a little bit. So, Clean the Sea is, uh, I mean, it's exactly what it says it is. It is a game where you are this little boat, and you've got a scooper, and you just go around these little arenas picking up trash. You bring it to the sell scrap, sell scrap, the sell yard. You get money for selling the trash, and you do this until you can get enough money. Well, you got to clean up enough scrap, enough trash to unlock the option to expand the area. Once you expand the area, you do the same thing over and over and over again until the area is completely expanded, and then you can move on to the next map. Um, There's four maps as of this review. There is supposed to be five, but the fifth one was not unlocked for my review. So just keep that in mind. Um, you unlock the different sections of each area, each map, but you can also use your money on other things. You can use it to upgrade your boat's speed, and you can also use it to upgrade your boat's storage capacity, which basically means getting more trash at one time to bring to the sell yard. Uh, I upgraded my ship pretty well, and it made getting through the game a lot faster, which might be a problem depending on how you look at it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But also, you can use it to buy these little helper boats, and basically, these helper boats, each one can only take one piece of scrap at a time at first, but you can upgrade that later on, and they will take it to the sell yard for you. It'll cash in for you, right? They're really useful. Excuse me. They're really useful. I didn't really use them a whole lot. You can also hire these drones, which do the same thing. They help you clean everything up. But yeah, I didn't really use them until end game, where I was just trying to farm cash to fully upgrade my boat. There are also these coin. There are coins that you can get. The coins are actually what you use to hire the drones. But if you don't want to use the drones, you can take those coins and trade them in for more cash, which I actually used a lot. I used the coins for cash method a lot more than I ever used the drones. Now, the four different areas, they are all visually different. Like, you could tell they're different areas, but there's nothing really changing gameplay wise. It's all the exact same thing. So don't be expecting each map to play different. The only thing that's different are the visuals, like the actual visual look of the area and the type of fish, not type of, the type of aquatic wildlife you start to see when you clear the area. When you clear an area of enough trash, you can start to see fish, coming to the surface. It's really neat. Um, so the issues start to come in when you get to the end game, which you will get to pretty quickly. I did not only unlock all of the game's maps and finish them uh, within an. Let's see. I had the exact. It was something like anywhere from an like it was less than an hour and a half. I had unlocked all the maps and I had unlocked all of the achievements for this game, which that's fast, right? I mean, that's really fast. When it said I got all the achievements, I was like, "There's no way." Uh, it's super fast. It almost feels like this is just an early access build that they're going to add more achievements to later. I hope they do, because I will gladly go back to get the rest of them, because it felt really good to get all those achievements. I get why Leo is such a crackhead about getting achievements after having one where I got all of them. Um, Also, what was the other thing I was saying about the end game here? Uh, you can always farm for things, because you will never fully clean the sea, because as you go, bits of trash here and there will continually come up, and there are also chests that are on timers that will give you more money or gold, or something of that nature as you go, and every time that timer goes up, you can cash them in. It's very mobile game esque. When you're playing this, if you don't know that it's a mobile game when you go into it, you're probably going to figure out that it's a mobile game pretty quickly, because of some of the choices they make. So that all comes down to, this game is great. It's just super short. Now, the issue comes in on what this game ends up coming out as. If it releases on Steam with, I would say, anything more than a $2 to $3 price tag, that's when we're going to start to get issues, because the game's great, but for $5 I can get Vampire Survivors, which you can put upwards of 30 to 50 hours in, depending on how you play it. If you're wanting to get all those achievements there, so that's just a on you basis. I think that it makes sense that this game should be free. It's free on mobile. I don't understand why it would not be free here. But if it's $1 or $2, I can see you could still reasonably drop that money with feeling relatively guilt free. But that's really the only negative I could say about this game. It's short. That's all I've got. other than that, this is a perfectly charming, perfectly fun game. I highly recommend it. Next up on the list is Warhammer 40K Dakka Squadron. Now, I've been wanting to dive into Warhammer, but I just never knew where to start. So when I saw this on terminals, I kind of jumped at it, right? And also, there's another Warhammer game. I think there's actually a few on Game Pass I'm trying out fairly soon. But basically, the Warhammer series, if you look at it, there's all kinds of different genres of video games in this subset or subset series. That's what I was looking for. And this one is a kind of like a rogue squadron kind of game where it's a flight aerial combat. That's what I'm looking for. Aerial combat simulator, and you play as an orc, and it kind of when I first saw gameplay, I was kind of brought back to Panzer Dragoon and Star Fox, and that really, I mean, this game really did scratch that itch for me. It was the these games, they don't really have deep storylines, and they don't need them because the gameplay is really where you're gonna get it's really where the bread and butter of these are. And let's see here. Uh, all the missions have like a set number of I guess I'd start with, you get to pick your pilot, and each pilot has like a different style plane. As far as I know, like nothing story wise changes depending on your pilot. But yeah, so you go off, you're out to the races, and you're going, like, you just start taking these missions. Each mission has a set amount of objectives that you have to accomplish. Some of them are a little, what's the word I'm looking for? They trick you because it'll be like, hey, you've got three objectives, and you do the three objectives, and it'll be like, ho ho, you've got three more, big boy. Uh, the objectives aren't anything nuanced. They're all stuff like destroy a certain amount of enemy pilots, or to destroy a certain amount of enemy structures. Nothing super in depth or nuanced. This is an aerial combat game. You're gonna blow some stuff up, and that's all you need to know. And that's great because the gameplay is really fun. I had a lot of moments where I was just darting in and out of canyons, or dipping into like these really epic dogfights, and just a lot of fun to be had. It's a great, fun game. The issues start to come into start to shoot. The issues start to arise. Technically speaking. Now, it's worth noting that I was reviewing this game. It was a Switch review code that I had. That being said, the game ran fine. It even looked great. There was a moment where I really was in awe of how the game looked when I was pulling up towards the sky to get away from an enemy fighter pilot, and the sun was casting shadows through my plane. I was like, man, this game actually looks pretty decent for a Switch. Um, but what ended up happening is I think the first time I noticed it, it was I had to destroy some enemy generators to get through a force field. The generators, some like two or three of the generators didn't spawn in, so I didn't know this. So I was just circling, looking for these last generators, and finally I started to shoot around just randomly, and I found them by accident. They were just invisible, so I had to kind of sit around, flying around shooting, and that's a problem in and of itself. But what compounds the issue is there's no checkpoint. If you die, you go to the beginning of the mission, and that is a big problem when you're not having things spawn in, and you're relying on luck of the draw and not your own skill. It really compounds your anger when you do die and have to go back to the beginning of the mission, because then you're like, okay, well, now I have to find these things again. You kind of know where they are because you had to find them in such an in-depth way, but you don't want to. You don't want to have to scour the map to find that stuff again. That is a big issue. I still think this game's a lot of fun. Off the top of my head, I do not know what else this game is. I think it's on PC. I would maybe recommend checking it out on PC. Maybe those technical issues aren't as prevalent there. But if all you have is the Switch version, maybe by the time you listen to this episode, it's been fixed, and I would definitely recommend that you check this game out. It is a lot of fun when it works. Uh, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it. Just maybe look into the PC version or see if the Switch version is fixed before you do. Now, well, last I should say, is the gas station simulator and the Tidal Wave DLC. Okay, so I guess I should take it back a little bit. I had heard, I think it was maybe somebody on Kind of Funny calling my gas station simulator, saying they had a lot of fun with it. So I bought the base game. This was maybe a year or two back. It was one of the first games I got when I purchased my Steam Deck. So this game, on its surface, looks fantastic. Well, it doesn't look fantastic. It looks like a lot of fun. You basically you're driving out in the middle of nowhere, and you stop. You see this gas station for sale. You pull in, you buy it. You start turning this gas station into what you want it to be. You want it to be this awesome place for all your customers to come get their fix on the road. You start, you fix it up a little bit, you open it up for business, and you're off to the races, right? Now, the reason that I did not play it back when I first bought it was because the game said that it had controller support, but the controller support was very broken. And I remember looking it up, they said controller support was coming. And I mentioned this in the written review because I actually went back and I found the same forum post, okay? At the time, I don't think there was any DLC to speak of, so I was still hopeful. They said controller support was coming, and that was in 2021. 2021, I believe. There is still, the controller support is still very broken uh, in this year of 2024. And we'll talk about the issues that I have with that later. Um, so the moment to moment gameplay is pretty standard simulator fare. You know, you got customers coming in, they're either going to be stopping to get gas, they're going to be coming into your gas station, to get drinks or, alcohol, or you can get these customers that are complete and total jerks and they just come in to throw things away. But I would prefer those guys. I don't know if this was a glitch, if it's something that just they have not fixed in the game. But there are these people that will just come into your gas station, stand in the middle of your store, and then turn around and walk out. Uh, the so the refueling part of the game, a customer will come up, they'll tell you how much gas that they want, and you've got to do this little mini game where you have to stop the dial when it reaches how much gas they want. Uh, the thing that I did not like about this is if you accidentally hit the wrong button, you're done. There's no go back and go back, collect $200 and go. I mean, if you accidentally hit the wrong button, they just like, all right, well, screw you. You get a negative rating. You don't get as much money. They drive off. Same thing with the customers at the checkout. They will put things on the conveyor belt, and you're supposed to scan the item and put it in the buggy, and put it in it is the buggy, and you get the money for everything that gets it put in the buggy. We'll talk about why that's a problem in a moment. So I will say I had a lot of fun going around doing maintenance around the gas station, ordering the fuel, ordering supplies, stocking said supplies onto the shelves. Um, there's like a little cool mini game where you can go into the back and control this little RC car. It's cute, it's fun, it's all good stuff here. But the problems start to arise with the controller support. The controller support makes it extremely difficult to place things. Like um, when I first started to review the game, I could not rotate shelves. When I would try to rotate, like when I would try to place my shelf, I would try to rotate it to fit flush with the wall, and it would just completely cancel out the action. And I had to go back into the inventory, find the shelf again, try to rotate it again. It wouldn't work. Finally, I just had to go mouse and keyboard and do it that way. Um, Also, the controller support will screw you on the gas, filling up the gas. Again, the game will tell you to push a button. If you push that button, it won't register that you pushed that button, and it'll exit you out. Same thing with the checkout. Stupid that it works that way. If I'm being 100% honest, you push the wrong button, you X out of the minigame, the customer gets mad, they leave. Uh, these are all aspects that did not have to be bad, but because the controller support does not work, it is bad. Now, going into the Tidal Wave DLC, um, you have an homage to Pirates of the Caribbean, where you're riding on a sinking sail, like you're on top of a sail as the ship's going down, and you just walk onto the dock. And the only thing that's really different with the Island DLC is if you get too many negative ratings, you have to give an offering to the island god of, let me check my notes, Chunshu Manchu. Yeah. If you don't do that, he'll erupt the volcano and presumably kill everybody. I never failed, so I don't know. Um, let me see here. The other major change is you're filling up jet skis and boats. Uh, Really, the only difference between this and the base game, you're doing it in a prettier setting. I mean, that's really the only thing that's different here. Let's see if I'm thinking now. That would be fine if the game worked. This is where we're going to start to get into the negatives. I like the gameplay of Gas Engine Simulator. I think it is a great game, and if you're playing on mouse and keyboard, you can take it. You can take and leave it at that. If you're playing on mouse and keyboard, Gas Station Simulator is a great game. But the thing is, they are promising controller support, and they are not giving it. They have a broken controller support. If I'm being completely 100% honest, it is broken. Uh, all the things I told you about earlier, that is, all aspects where it is broken there. But also, if you need to do anything on your computer, forget about it. The computer does not work with a controller at all. It just doesn't. Yeah, I was able to use it by using the touchscreen on the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally. But again, they are promising controller support here. While the Steam page says that it only has partial controller support, the developers have promised multiple times on forums that controller support was coming. Full controller support is coming soon, and what they're instead doing is making DLC. If your game is not finished, you should not be making DLC. That is my view on that. I will never shy away from that. Uh, As far as controller support, taking controller support out of the equation, the only thing that I had problems with were technical issues with this game. Like I said, the customers can be very stupid. Uh, there were multiple times where they would come in and look at my shelves, and at first I assumed that I did not have what they were looking for. That's why they looked at the shelves. A little thing would pop up above their head, and they would walk out. But then I would look again, and I would be like, I do have that item. I don't know why you're walking out of my store when that's what you're saying that you're looking for. It was just, weird little technical issues like that. Um, Looking through to see. I mean, really, the only other thing that I have listed here as far as negatives go, the battery life, the battery strain that this put on both the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally was kind of unacceptable. I was able to get more battery life on the ROG Ally from Final Fantasy VII Remake than I was from Gas Station Simulator, which, I mean, again, these things have not the best batteries, but Final Fantasy VII Remake is a visual stunner, running at 60 frames per second with fully functional controller support. I know I'm harping on that, but it's very important because it should have it. Uh, but yeah, there's no. I don't think. I think there's just a lot of optimization that needs to be done here. Uh, all in all, I think that if you listen to this, you might think that I'm being very critical of Gas Station Simulator and that I do not like it. But the crux of the matter is, I loved Gas Station Simulator when it worked and when the game gave me what was promised. Again, they have promised people on forums, these verified accounts that Controller Sport was coming, and we don't have it. Instead, we're getting more and more content that is broken. I've actually seen a lot of reviews for, I can't remember which DLC it was, but there is a DLC that just completely breaks your game. People are saying, do not buy it. This will break your game. You will not be able to progress if you buy this DLC. And the fact that they are not fixing these things and they're just continuing to pump out DLC, that's where my main issue lies. Uh, all that being said, if you want to still dive into this game, I cannot recommend it if you're going in with the assumption that you want controller support. And honestly, if it wasn't for those forum posts, I wouldn't even be dinging it this harshly because it does say it's only partial controller support. But they are promising something that they are not delivering, and that's where my issue lies. There is still a lot of technical issues that you're going to have to contend with if you do play on mouse and keyboard, but it is not nearly as severe. And I can like if you're playing mouse and keyboard, buy Gas Station Simulator. Uh, the DLCs are not. The DLCs are really hit and miss. You can go on the Steam page, like the Steam page of these DLCs, to see and kind of make that decision for yourself. But yeah, that's where I land on it. It's a great game. If you're playing on mouse and keyboard and you can overlook some technical issues, this is a great game. If you're planning on playing on as a console experience, don't bother right now. It is a broken mess. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the episode, guys. And as always, if you like what we're doing here, go over to our WordPress page, follow us, subscribe to the page there. Go over to whatever podcast app you're listening to us on, subscribe, give us a 5-star review. All that stuff really does help us. Share it on your social media pages. Tell your friends about it. And as always, we will be back next week to give you more gaming content. That's all I've got for today, everybody. Thanks for listening.